Still
This
not capturing
conference will now be recorded.
and then, it's just a slow process. So, kind of pulling all those together, candidates come to a career page, look at jobs or looking at a job site, you kind of get that initial interest, but still don't capture them. So a big chunk of what Brazen's doing for our partners is just making it really easy to have them come onto a career site, maybe look at jobs, they're not ready to apply, it's a longer process and they just have a simple question. So we really help our partners reach more candidates just by hosting regular events, and having that ability for people to come in and chat. So kind of one piece, obviously, of what we do, but it's not definitely the only side of it. So the Brazen platform. So this is kind of our suite of products right now. We're always engaging, doing more, adding more. We actually have a product roadmap tour webinar that's going on, I believe, tomorrow. If interested in that, feel free to shoot me an email or let me know. Can share the details on that. But kind of starting on the left there, virtual events. Again, that's the core of what we've done. We'll really kind of dive into that platform and show you that today. The second one, quick chat. I'm going to kind of show you a short demo on that as well, just to make sure you can see what it is and kind of those are our two core products. The FAQ concierge is a couple pieces. First piece, it's a bot that is going to share the next 30 days of events on a career site. And then you can add, frequently asked questions to that. It's not AI driven, but it does a good job just kind of helping, people go through, giving, the visitors kind of a virtual assistant to ask and answer some questions. And then the last part there is marketing solutions. We help our partners advertise their events. So, with that, right, it's hard to find folks in events. As great of a platform is, we want to keep, make sure folks are able to come in. So, all right, with that, let me find the right screen. Sorry, I'm in office today, so my setup's a little bit different. So hopefully I go smooth enough here.
And Derek, I am back, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere there. My apologies for everyone. And I did start the recording, so we just missed a little bit of that. Certainly, I did want to say very quickly to everyone that there are a couple platforms out there doing events, but I think you're going to find this a little different in the sense that, I don't want to steal any of Derek's thunders, but as usual, I will watch the chat. If anybody has any questions, please place them there, or maybe just, signal me somehow and I'll call on you in that so that I know that Derek's ready for lots and lots of questions. So anyway, back to you, Derek.
Yeah, and do you prefer, do you want people to ask questions as we're kind of going if they have a question on something, or save those more to the end? What's your preference?
If you can, sometimes just the question sits with the slide that you're on and some thoughts and so on, so it seems to flow better.
Yep, absolutely. So either's fine with me. So, all right, so I'm going to show the quick chat portion. What we're looking at here is actually a landing page for an actual event, which we'll jump back to in a second. This is an example page for Amtrak here. So this is what we call our quick chat bot. It can be used a number of different ways. This version of it is basically attached to a specific job rec. A lot of our healthcare partners have found a lot of success doing this with RN positions or any of them that are hard to fill. But this idea of hey, we're just going to try to make it, as easy as possible for a candidate to engage with us, right? If there was only apply now, right? Some candidates are going to, but typically I think healthcare is around maybe 5% conversion rate. So any way you can bump that up, you have someone here interested in a job. They say, hey, there's a recruiter available. So I just want to click that and start having a conversation with somebody. This is obviously customizable. So, whatever you want to name it, have the image there. Has a few different options, right? The FAQs, like I mentioned, you can add to this bot as well. A few just buttons if you want to add. Those are just going to link out to a page that's commonly accessed on your site if you want to direct folks to. But the actual chat piece, right, just says chat with the recruiter. So we'll have clients that just list the chat with the recruiter there. Just going to help expedite that process. There you go, chat with somebody. Basically how this works, it's going to go through a few different questions, right? These are all just thinking, asking, but we want to capture obviously the candidate's information. Can't even spell my own last name right. There we go. So get that. We're also going to ask for an email real quick from a candidate. Again, if they fall off, drop, we still have that information. We know someone's chatting with us. It's just, again, capturing folks, and typing and talking is always difficult, so I'll try to limit that. So this is working to a process to actually connect with a recruiter or whoever's on the back end of this. It's, up to you how you do this. If you want to tag yourself if you're a recruiter to this job, or if you want a few people as a team to be set here. You see it is asking for my phone number. I'm gonna say no thanks at this point because I want to chat with somebody right now. And then it's gonna connect us here. I hear my computer whizzing here, but I don't know if it froze up. Can you also see my screen? I think so. I don't know. I don't think I'm frozen, but I don't know why that stopped there. It is an example page, but basically what happens, it's going to go through. I have an away message up, so it's not going to be something I have to connect with someone right away. It'll let me chat with somebody either on the bot right away, or a candidate will be able to put their phone number in because, hey, I'm actually not at my desk. I usually get back to you a couple times, or excuse me, check this a couple times a day. They can send that message through, and then we would be texting the candidate back. So they can kind of go about their day. But again, just an easy way to connect someone through the quick chat. You can create these as landing pages as well. So if you don't or aren't able to connect it with your applicant tracking system, it also allows you to use a landing page. So you can put them on job pages. We have some. So Advent Health here is a client of ours. This is the main page, but they'll do some that are just, hey, chat with the nurse, and it goes straight to that landing page. I always like showing the Advent Health page here. They do a really good job. So they use Brazen events as well. But you can see here how often they're doing events outside of this podcast. These are all Brazen events. So they do weekly recurring events that, really just let candidates come in and say, yeah, I'm maybe not ready to apply. I want to learn more about what it's like, what facility I'd be working at or whatever it is. So they give, specifically to RNs as many opportunities as they can to kind of come in, register, and chat with candidates. So that's just kind of how they're using the platform. We have some people that use it, for quarterly events, but I think we're definitely kind of seeing a shift to more regular events and using it instead of like a larger hiring event style, like kind of that career expo, much more as a, coffee chat or kind of that casual conversation.
So Derek, I'm gonna be true to my word. I'm gonna start asking dumb questions in the middle of it. So I'm curious about the perspective. Are you seeing clients, to your point, making much more frequent use of the platform and reaching out and scheduling a little more activity, if you will? But do you have any clients that are kind of thinking within the office hours, kind of an always on type of thing? And can you hook this up through social media? So if let's say I go out to LinkedIn, and instead of applying, instead of apply, I'm going to Brazen, and I'm getting to a recruiter during the office hours. Is that a smart move? Is that a use of your platform wisely? I'm just thinking about maybe for specific jobs where it's a harder to fill situation.
Yeah, what we do see, especially, so I don't know if you're that digging, so for some reason this kind of froze up for a second on me, but you can kind of see how it went through. I think the quick chat people, especially for that hard to fill, like if someone's looking at our page, if someone looked at a post I shared on LinkedIn, right, it just says like, hey, I'm here to chat, send me a message. Folks will use this a lot. We are seeing that more with events. So part of it, like when we'll go through and show you the platform, you can save or create recurring events where you could do them daily. We don't have too many clients that do that, but you can see here, I'll show Advent's example real quick, where they're just once a week, right? Every Wednesday at 1 o'clock. They're just letting candidates come in, chat with them. So, that next point of talk, speaking with them is short. So they're kind of controlling, hey, you're going to hear back from us or you can get your answers right away versus signing up or sending in an application. And, then you don't know when you hear back. So if you just have some simple questions, we have seen this style more where you can see they have these recurring events. Once today's at 1 o'clock is gone, right, the next one's going to come up for me to register. So yeah, we're seeing more and more of that versus kind of like the less frequent. It's just the more engagement opportunity you have with the candidate, the more likely someone's going to, fill out that information or want to come chat with you.
Great, thank you.
All right. Were there any other questions on kind of like the quick chat or the Brazen bot before I jump over to the actual event platform?
I'm not seeing any right now, but I'll keep you informed of that one for sure.
Yep. All right. All right, so this is the virtual event piece, definitely the core of what we do. However folks get here, right, if you're advertising with us, if you're doing your own marketing, obviously for this, social media, everyone's gonna come to a landing page that you can obviously, see customized here. So the logo, background image, name of the event, right? And then time of the event's obviously kind of the most important pieces, but you might already know that. So we don't want to do too much here. This is kind of designed to be a simple page. It's a simple first name, last name, email, and a password for the candidate to sign up, or single source sign on with Facebook, Google, or LinkedIn. I've been in Brazen events as a candidate before, so I'm available to quickly put my email and password in there. And then we can sign up. So a couple pieces you can easily customize tracking here. So you can create customized codes, send those URLs out to, if you're sharing on social media, different platforms, paid advertising, so you can really track what's coming in. And kind of see, obviously, for future events, right, where it's going to work best. But Brazen platform is fully web-based, so there's no downloads. It's 100% mobile friendly as well. And a lot of candidates obviously do participate on a mobile device. If someone's coming to us, they don't have to go download the Brazen app on a phone. There is no Brazen app. It's just click on a link, get signed up. So we're trying to take as many hurdles out as possible to make sure the candidate's getting, to our partners that are hosting events. So I registered for the event. The next step is a registration form. So these registration forms are completely customizable. Whatever you need to know about candidates, most of the time it's a simple short form kind of application, similar to what we're seeing here. But again, different questions you can add in here. You create them, different kind of styles, obviously with that. But really it's just a way of sorting candidates, right? So you can look at these, see who's coming in, what areas of interest, obviously, if you have different positions you're going after, to kind of help them navigate or reach out and schedule time with them. But again, you create those for the event. I click submit. I'm now fully registered. I will get reminder emails from Brazen, so we'll automatically send out reminders for you through email and text if they put their phone number in there, to kind of help make sure candidates are coming in. So this event is live, so I'm able to enter the event as a candidate. Now, obviously, they could come check out the event beforehand, or you can lock it. That's kind of up to you on the platform, but we'll click enter and jump into the event. So the first thing we're seeing, and again, we're a job seeker at this point, or a candidate coming in, right? If you're not doing necessarily a recruitment style event. So this kind of experience they have. First thing you do is put up a quick, branding video, record a welcome video here, and just kind of add it to the events and kind of explain what's going on. But just a nice touch point to kind of start out, right? And maybe folks aren't as familiar, you don't have the brand recognition of, maybe an Amtrak, right? So just understanding who you are, what it is you're doing today, just kind of a nice point. It is optional, so you don't have to add that, and job seekers don't have to watch it. So if they are short on time, just X out of that. That video is going to live over here in the right content panel for me to go check out later. So this right content panel, you can see up top, we got a broadcast schedule. So that's actually one of the booth types, is the live broadcast room. So if you're doing any of those, the time shows up when you're doing those. I can click right into it, jump in. Video lives over here. Like I said, you can add additional videos if you would like, and then just a text block. So if you want to put an agenda, benefits, about us, frequently asked questions in this area, kind of whatever would be helpful, obviously, to get out to all the candidates. But what we're looking at here is this is the main lobby of a Brazen event. So each of these rooms are designed to have a different type of conversation. So this is really where you can start customizing these, obviously, but the image, the titles of the events, or excuse me, the name of the rooms is all customizable by you. So however you want to do this out, we have clients that will do it by locations or by positions. But however you want to do that, if you just want everyone to go into one booth and have chats, you can. But we only have 5 in here. You can have 300 different rooms in one event if you wanted, just depending on kind of the size of the event and what you're trying to accomplish. But mentioned, this is the live webinar room. We will jump in there and show you that in a bit. Most of these are one-on-one chat rooms, and that's the most frequently used room we have, where candidates go in. There's folks on the other side. I basically will get in line and we'll show you this process and have a one-on-one conversation with somebody. We also have a group chat room that allows up to 9 people all in the same room to have a conversation. I'm going to jump into this room, but just one kind of quick point. The Brazen's very easy to use. There's a lot of features. There's a lot you can do within it. But if people don't know how to use it, right, it's not as effective of a tool. So there is, emails that go out to candidates, and obviously we have training for all our clients that come on board. But you can even see here, click here to enter a booth. Really simple, kind of walking them right into what they need to do. And then again, same thing, click on chat to get in line to have a conversation with somebody.
So I have to, I'm sorry, Derek, real quick. So you mentioned something up earlier. If I'm signing in, am I signing in as a Brazen customer, or am I signing in at a company's website or Brazen section, if you will, or instance?
Yeah, no, good question. So they are, most of the time they're signing in through Brazen.
Okay.
But our partners, the employers that work with us, own those candidates. So we don't resell candidate information. It's, if they're going into your ATS, same thing when they're coming into Brazen. So those are your candidates. We do have some that will work with an API that will kind of do a sign up where they avoid that registration or that initial sign up through Brazen to come into events. Yep.
It strikes me that if I am used to your platform and I'm looking for a job, I might be out here looking at a whole bunch of things, but I don't have to keep re-signing up. I don't want 10 IDs out there. I just want one. And that's what you're affording, is that I'm there for as many employers as I need to see. Yeah,
exactly. You have that candidate profile. So if you come into this event for Amtrak, which is a one employer event, maybe a Expo client of ours is hosting a multi-employer career fair, right? You'd have that same user sign up to get in.
Gotcha. And a very off the wall question, but I'm watching all that you're doing here on the screen. Is this site ADA compliant for somebody who may not be able to see the pictures or hear a chat or whatever the case? What are you working towards that, or are you already there?
Yeah, no, it's not there yet. That's something that has been a focus this year. It doesn't have everything yet built in for that accessibility, but it is something we're working on to make sure we can support every use case, right, that there is.
Exactly.
I do know some people, even though it's not compliant yet, a lot of people have come to us because it's more user friendly and accessible for a lot of people. So even though it's not compliant yet, it is something that is still more friendly than a lot of other platforms out there.
Well, and a lot of the mobile devices do have sometimes translator capabilities for let's say a deaf person or something, hard of hearing or whatever the case may be. So I've seen those being done fairly well, just even in general usage. Okay, that sounds great. Super. Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. So again, we're in this one-on-one chat room. Each room has its own lobby. So again, if you have different departments, different locations, they have a chance to kind of customize, do a little bit more what they're talking about. So you see there's a home tab here and a banner image. You can change the text down here if you need to. And there's 2 other tabs you can add. This one defaults to opportunities because you can add roles within the booth. But again, banner image, some text down there. And then a 3rd tab, embed a video. So if you have like more of a department video, location video, whatever it is, put that in there just for candidates to check it out, right? They can look at this before the event, so it can be really helpful for them to learn about, before the live event, where they need to go, maybe questions they want to ask to you. But we're gonna go in, so all you gotta do as a candidate to get in line is click chat. So we'll click chat. If you added any roles to this booth, it's gonna ask me to get in line for one of those roles. So we'll do that. The next is what we call our smart queue. So this ranks candidates. So usually basic qualification questions, right? If someone's ahead of me that's all no's or has a no in there, I'm actually going to jump them in line because I'm a more qualified candidate for this role. So it's one of those, again, it's an optional piece. Brazen's really, like I said, customized to what you need to do. So you can use things as you need to, or kind of pick and choose what you want to use, or change it over time, because you don't have to do the event or the same thing at any point for different events. So I'm in line, I can move around. So if I want to go check out the webinar, get in a different booth and chat with somebody, I'm free to do that. When it's my turn, it's going to pull me into that one-on-one chat, unless I'm engaged in another one-on-one or group chat. All right, so I'm going to jump over back to the employer side. So it's going to be a similar experience. You can see we welcome people the first time in, just kind of set expectations of the platform. Obviously, especially for employers, there's full training. And even with that, it's very easy to use and kind of jump in. But we still like to train people, make it as easy as possible for them to kind of learn the platform. Same video pops up. A couple differences. So I have my own tab because I own a couple booths. You know, in a small event like this with only 5 rooms, pretty easy, obviously, to navigate and find your rooms. But if it is a larger event, we want to make that simple. And then there's scheduling as well. So this is another option you can add. And typically you'd be looking at this before an event. So if I want to search through registrants, again, these are all based on profile questions we asked. Looking for folks in marketing, let's say, apply that. We only have one job seeker in here, but again, you'd be sorting or looking at everybody with marketing in their profile. So I search the candidates, the resume is accessible as well. Once I decide, hey, Carter looks like a really good fit for the role I'm looking for, I'm gonna invite him either to my booth. So if it's just, hey, you're actually a good fit for this, we'd love to have you in the engineering mechanical chats, just engaging with candidates, you know, get them more likely to show up. You can also schedule a quick chat with them. So send out a time they can pop in and, or actually, sorry, no, they get sent an email. They'll get a link to my calendar within the event. So they'll look something like this. They'll have buttons to pick, you know, 4 o'clock. If Carter selects that, that time slot disappears for anybody else that had the invite, and Carter shows up there so I can see his name, who I'm gonna be chatting with. And then instead of sitting in line, we're just automatically connected at 4 o'clock when we're both in the platform. So again, your choice if you're gonna do scheduled chats or doing, you know, kind of more organic as people got in line, as I showed you. But we'll see employers do a mix of both, where maybe they go find the top candidates, bring them in for a scheduled chat. But ultimately, it's always up to, you know, individuals, what they're doing or what they want to do from that end.
Derek, do you mind if I ask another question here, just for clarification purpose? Sorry. So let me give you the hypothesis of my question that says, I'm looking for somebody qualified for a job opening I have. I am seeing all the people at my event, correct? Is what you just showed. Yep. And I can, through some of the screening capabilities, find the people that, in my mind, at least initially seem to fit what I'd like to do and send them an invite. That's kind of the process you just showed us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Do you have, or are you considering doing this for a general job fair? In other words, rather than seeing the people at quote unquote my event, I am at a job fair and I'm seeing a list of all the visitors and their perspectives. And in a sense, I could go to a job fair virtually and see many employers that might be interested in seeing me. Is that a usage of your platform these days?
Yeah, so really good question. So we don't run events like that ourselves. So we don't run like a Brazen sponsored event. We're really the platform, and our clients utilize it how they see fit. We do have a lot of clients that will run, we call them like expo events, right? Where kind of like, you know, going to a conference center in person, same type of thing, and there's a bunch of employers there.
Yep.
We have a lot of clients, you know, around the world that do events like that. Sometimes to local areas, sometimes further along, and they'll host those. So, you know, Amtrak, Pepsi, you know, Target, whoever else, right, are all in that room. We have some that do like specialties, like just for teachers, you know, and then have a bunch of schools come in. So the candidate comes in, they can talk to however many schools or, you know, employers they're interested in. And the same thing, the employers can search through all those candidates and then invite them to come to their room and chat. So, yep, what I'm showing you here is a single employer event, but we have a number of clients that run multi-employer events.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question, because the other question I forgot to ask was, are you global? Well, it strikes me that you would be global if I'm looking for somebody, am I able to speak a couple of languages and somebody's reaching out to me and so on. In other words, you don't have to deal with language translation or anything like that. The employer that's there should be taking care of all that stuff and positioning it. But in the remote workforce as we see it today, that is a really positive experience for people. I don't have to, fly to San Francisco to find out about jobs in San Francisco. I can go out to LinkedIn, I guess, but this is much more personalized. I like the idea that it's really much in tune of what we're seeing these days for the remote workforce. So it's very, very cool stuff. And one last question. If I have seen people in my event or maybe in a general event, and I've kept some of the stuff with me, I gather that information is mine once I've connected with them, so to speak.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Once you have a chat with somebody that, that's within the platform, there's a chat history within Brazen. So you'll be able to come back into the platform, see who you spoke with. So some of those on more general events, right, the multi-employer style, that's up to each of those of our customers that are hosting those, like if they give you access to all candidates or only ones you chatted with. But yeah, if you chat with them, you have that information, you'll know. But some allow that kind of like, hey, search through everybody. Some don't. So that's just a little bit.
And the nice thing about most of the more recent recruiting system is that you can churn through previous candidates to kind of, in a sense, start, instead of advertising out again, you're looking at people that were interested and had come to you in the first place. Maybe they didn't qualify for the particular position at the time, but so you own that information and can have access to that as time goes on as well.
Yep, absolutely. And that's something on the back end. When you run events, we have full reporting on registrations. And within that reporting after the event, you'll see who attended the event, who didn't. We have, more tracking within the events to see, what rooms did they chat in? Did someone attend the event and not chat? And then we have clients that will, yep, hey, we saw you were in the event, but didn't chat with anybody, was something not there that you were looking for or hoping for, and kind of re-engage, with them and either get them to a new event or just schedule them, separately, one-on-one. So
right. And I did want to acknowledge Michelle's question there. It's kind of like what I was asking, but she says, can the platform be used for campus recruiting? And do you have people who are doing such?
Yeah. So, and I guess that could be, I don't know if that's hiring people out of campus or having a college, or campus recruit students into the campus, but yeah, we do both. Campus recruitment is, I'd say, one of the higher use cases. So, instead of going out to the individual campus, as well, clients that, right, hey, I can put on it for these two schools, kind of have them both come in, be much more efficient, run those. So that's a very, I would say, high usage event for us, or the clients that are using it. We'll show you the group video in a little bit. That was actually it's a newer feature of the Brazen platform, but that was one like campus recruitment teams really requested to kind of get the 8 candidates on board with one recruiter or someone on the team and just kind of have more of an open discussion. So yeah, absolutely, that's something you can certainly run on the platform.
Great. And I'm seeing at your screen where you had the LinkedIn profile. Is that something that somebody's interested in, or they've just gone out to LinkedIn and brought that in to fulfill that?
Yeah, was that here? So that was in the the profile question. So during registration.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep, that's just in the registration. So that's up to, right, if you want to ask that and know it, they can just put that profile in so I can easily get out there. So that's where you kind of decide what's important to know about the candidates that you'd like to easily pop in there.
Yeah. Okay, that's it for my questions so far. My apologies. Any other questions from the audience before we move on and let Derek get back to the presentation? I think we're good. Go for it. Thank you.
Always better than me talking for 30, 40 minutes straight. So
I don't know if they get tired of listening to me.
Yep. So we're gonna click chat. So a couple pieces here. So I'm a recruiter again. I'm the employer, right? Whichever side I'm on. This is my booth. The event's going on. I'm behind right now, right? We have no representatives in here. I click chat. Once I get in there, I'm in line and ready. And if someone's in line, we're automatically connected. It's a really important piece with Brazen. It's, you have people come in and, you don't have to go say, hey, Carter, and like engage in like a lobby, pull them in or try to attract people to you. They're just going to come in, have that conversation with you. You can see here, right, we're in the chat platform. You know, with this piece, again, we see who we're talking to, the profile information, resumes there to view easily, and then the smart Q score, like I said, that ranks candidates. But for me, I know I have a good candidate, right? We see 3 green yeses. So we probably know we have someone good here. So we can kind of go down a different line of questioning maybe than I would if they're, you know, inexperienced, right? This is kind of where it's up to you, right? Whatever you prefer. So we have a lot of clients that will stick just to the text-based chatting within the chat here. You can save things like snippets just to kind of make it more efficient, right? What questions you asking? There is a greeting as well. But really, how do you kind of want to go through that? Do you have a couple of questions before and kind of pre-qualify before you do a video or audio call? To do video and audio call, only the employer is allowed to do those. So the candidate cannot initiate these. So I can click video, right? If I'm ready, call works the same. But what happens is just going to pick up, and you'll see here, and have a quick video right here. Let me mute myself so we don't get a fun echo. So video pops up. The candidate is waiting in here, right? They can accept or decline it. Obviously, we are not able to just say, you know, force open their camera and screen. So they have to click accept, and we're going to pop up again. So there we are chatting face to face. I mentioned before mobile friendly. So one of the things, right, if it's video, if you've ever been on a phone call on your mobile device, probably looks pretty familiar. Just kind of automatically adjust the screen size, and you're having the same experience with the candidate. But obviously at this point, right, it's up to you. Do you prefer video? Do you prefer the chatting? Do you prefer an audio call? Event by event, it might be a little bit different for each, you know, recruiter, or if a candidate wants to be on video or audio or not. So timer. So again, a lot of what you're seeing here is kind of customizable, right? You can adjust things. This was only at 5 minutes. If you want 10 minutes here, you can. If you want 3 hours, you can have a 3-hour window with somebody. It's just, again, what's up to you. I'd say 10 to 20 minutes is kind of the norm, depending on the experience level and, you know, what they want to do. So just going to vary. And at 2 minutes, if we get there, which we should, there's going to be a little pop-up you're going to see here in a second that says, you know, your time's running out. Would you like to extend the chat with this candidate? So even though you have 5 minutes here, I have up to 15 minutes because you can extend it by 2, 5, or 10 minutes to continue that chat.
So, Derek, well, you're kind of waiting through that one. So you're busy in a job fair. You've got a line of people waiting for you. How do I bring other recruiters to the table?
Yeah, so for this one, this is called one-on-one conversations. So you can have multiple recruiters in the same room, and then it's just, you know, it's just whoever's available, the job seeker is going to go to.
Right.
So in this use case, right, I'm talking one-on-one with a candidate at this point. There is something I can show you in a second that will show how to kind of like pass people on. So if you want that multi-tiered interview, or if you want to pre-qualify people here, we can hand someone off to a different recruiter that's only taking people that are qualified. But otherwise, This conversation is a one-on-one conversation, even though we can have multiple people in each room.
I was kind of thinking a little bit on the supply-demand situation. So you've got more people coming to you, and I've got some people not necessarily in the event yet, but on call, so to speak. And I guess I could bring them in easily enough. Like you say, it sounds like the pass on would allow me to maybe, hey, take the queue or what's behind me.
Yeah, and if like you're running this right and there's more people than you expect that registered, right, you can quickly add users from your side to make sure you have enough people in the booth to not have long lines and kind of give a bad user experience. So, yep. So any questions before I jump out of this? Hopefully this is all fairly self-explanatory. But any questions here on the chat interface before I go?
I just want to acknowledge what Bobby had said, which is kind of a perspective, but I'd love to hear your comment on that too. It says, she said I can also see the campus recruiting with larger schools for department recruiting, especially with graduate schools. So we've got, you know, medicine and business and whatever else is out there for that kind of segregation, but really do it for large schools. Do you have a lot of employers that are, I think you mentioned that you know, campus recruiting is one of the large things or use cases that you're seeing an awful lot. If anybody was interested to kind of bench check that, would you be open to the idea that they could, I'll give them your email, or hopefully we've got a slide at the end of this that says how to contact Derek, but would you be able to maybe put them in a reference position to talk to someone who's done the campus recruiting? Because that is, I think we're finding very quickly, you're sourcing in the pool of people is great, but going and building your pipeline is sometimes a smarter way to go. So I'm just curious if you'd be open to provide reference on that.
Yeah, it depends, and that's definitely something we'd have to like connect on, kind of look at like what the use case is. Sure. We have some areas where clients are willing to do that, and some obviously, they're not. It just depends. Obviously, everyone's a little bit different if they're willing to chat with others. So some happily do it, and some, right, it takes a little arm twisting or gift cards to encourage them. But
yeah. And then Tracy's asked a question, do you have or plan to offer any assessment tools for recruiters and businesses use to assess, company fit?
Is that like in terms of like utilizing Brazen, or more as like a candidate coming in?
Well, it kind of augmenting. In other words, what a normal recruiting system might do is provide an assessment at the front end. In a sense, you're like the front door anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm just not in a recruiting system. And could I maybe end up taking a brief assessment test of some sorts?
Yeah, we don't now. That's not part of the platform. We'll have people put like assessments within like the kind of that text block I was talking about, right? Where they can like, hey, encourage them to apply, right? Because it's great you have that information, but you always want a full application anytime you can get one. So having them kind of go through that process, start that assessment. But yeah, in terms of like part of the Brazen platform, no, it's not something that's offered right now. And I'm not sure, I haven't heard that before in terms of like being added to the platform. But we always add that in anytime we hear something to look at that or consider for clients. So.
Okay, no, it's a fair answer, I think. A good thing. All right, so we're at about 15 minutes into the end of this thing. So Derek, I didn't want to cut you short on anything, but I think we're looking good so far.
Yep, we're moving good. So the core of what we wanted to get through is fine. So so this quick review screen, obviously after we chat with someone, so you can pipeline them. We have a 1 through 5 star rating as well. If those don't kind of work with your typical assessment or rankings of candidates, add your notes. You can obviously prevent people from chatting. It is the internet, right? And someone just keeps coming in. I know you always hear stories about that one person that's been told no 50 times, but they keep coming back. Handoff's a pretty cool feature I kind of touched on. So if I wanted to, I could say, hey, I pre-qualified Carter, he's a great fit. The hiring manager is sitting here, right? Derek, spelled differently. And I want to send him over there either to a different booth or within this booth, and Derek's only taking qualified candidates from that. So kind of a cool piece. Don't have to use that, right? You can just keep it there, or some I know employers like to kind of do like 2 different people interview everyone, so just get those different opinions. So just a nice piece to kind of add there to kind of have that order so candidates don't have to come back and get in line. Can do follow-ups right here, so I can email, forward it to someone else, or schedule a follow-up if you're using like a calendar scheduling app like a Calendly. Most folks do that after the event, kind of coming back to the chat history to do that with candidates. So I'll click finished. That candidate's going to go in, right? So I have that candidate information, kind of how we were talking before. If anybody else was in line, I'd be connected with the next candidate right away. So Michelle, I just saw your question. So yeah, we have kind of doing, like you said, hiring them on the spot. Right, if you're running the platform, you can use this however you want. So we have people do this as like a way to bring candidates in. If it's a short enough process, we've absolutely had clients that do on the spot hiring. Some are just looking to fill the pipeline, right, get more folks in. Some will use events for like a second interview, just to kind of have it come in and do different things. So just depends on the style of event and what you're trying to do. But yep, that's absolutely a possibility. All right, let me jump back real quick. So this is the live broadcast. Pretty simple. Do a screen share. Oops, I didn't mean to click screen share. Actually meant to shoot video. This allows, I believe we allow up to 20 different presenters now within this live broadcast. So people do Q&A sessions, trainings, lot of creative ways to help get candidates in, having different speakers, kind of like I think you saw on Advent Help, the resume, writing, advice, right? Kind of get more custom for certain positions. But it's meant to be a one-way conversation, so you don't have to worry about, people coming off a mute or weird videos, whatever it is. It's one way, right? I'm controlling what's put out there. And then there is a discussion tab. So if people have questions, want to comment on anything, put it there, right? And we can see that, and you can either respond here or obviously during the live broadcast. Really quickly, I want to go over and show the group chat and then leave some time for any questions. But this, similar to the one-on-one booth, can kind of be customized lobby-wise the same way. I'm going to click chat. So I'm a host of this. You can have multiple hosts. So this is one where if you do panel interviews, pretty common use case. I already kind of mentioned the campus recruitment. This is a popular one. I know it's not great to show it right now because we just have 2 candidates, or excuse me, a candidate and a host. But this lets you have up to 9 people. Like I said, could be 3 or 4 hosts, the rest candidates, or just 1 host, and then candidates can come in. I can lock the room as you see there on the bottom. So if we need to, we want to talk to someone or do that panel interview, nobody else can get in once I lock it. But again, it's it's a newer room type, so we're adding more and more features to this. Like we've got the screen share there. If you want to do kind of smaller group sessions, you can do that. But like I said, the campus teams, this is one that they requested a lot just because they liked, I think a lot of people new to a job market don't always know what to ask. So this helps it down of, let them learn and hear and experience from other people kind of going through the same process and asking questions to kind of learn more. So I know I kind of rushed through those last 2, but I just kind of want to quickly touch on them and make sure we left some time for any questions you might hear or you might have, or anything you kind of want me to touch on again. But that was kind of what I want to go over with you all.
Okay, I'm looking in the chat, and thanks for writing a book, Scott. No. I'll try to read it very quickly. Please discuss how Brazen interacts with a company ATS to facilitate candidate communications. Yeah, actually, there was kind of a hanging. What's my next step? I saw that you said, I could schedule up a follow-up and so on and so forth, but can I move them in a sense from where they are into the application process in my recruiting system?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So it depends. Everyone does this differently, right? Some folks will just leave it in Brazen and almost act as like Brazen's their own little CRM. We do partner. There are some applicant tracking systems we do integrate with, so very easy, right? That data is just after every event or every day, right? It's going to port over. You're going to have all that, but this is also all within reporting in a CVS report. So again, it depends on what ATS is being used, but fairly simple to upload those, push them over. But a lot of that is really up to you on kind of how that would go between, right? Is there already an integration with an ATS, or if there is one that you come to us, that we know we haven't approached before, we could kind of work with them to try to get it integrated. So that's definitely part of the focus of what we do. Does that answer your question, Scott? Somewhat anyway?
I think we'll take that as a yes.
There's a lot of ways.
There we go. It says real-time data exchange or flat file.
I think it depends. Usually, I think it depends. Like we have clients that will do maybe like hourly. I don't know if we go more than that. So not quite real time, but often enough where it's kind of being pushed over all the time. Yeah. And then sometimes a flat file, right, where it's like, hey, once the event's done, you upload everything and kind of send it over. So would depend on what you're looking for in your use case there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my question is more around, Brazen appears to be where you start the dance, but when you're actually pairing off and you're dancing, some ATSs don't really have the capabilities that Brazen has for, let's say, a text chat, starting a phone call or a video call. But if you're going to leverage or use the Brazen platform, now you've got to start sending state information between the systems. So the state of the candidate in the ATS, have they gone from they've just started the introduction process and now we're screening them, or doing a background check, each one of those may trigger a different action that needs to be performed. So the people, is Brazen primarily used just to start the dance and maybe identify dance partners, and then everything moves into the ATS? Or to what degree do people try to integrate the ATS with Brazen while you're dancing?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Kind of keeping that updated. I would, yeah, typically how most folks are using this right now, it is the start where, right, getting people in there, it's just collecting that information right now. We are seeing some that will use it more in the process. So maybe they did apply there first, but everyone's a little bit different. Yeah, right now I don't think there's too many that are doing it that detailed where like, hey, all right, we're doing the second level, that's going to update and pull over to the ATS. So I wouldn't say too many are doing that really live, constant changing based on kind of where they're at in the process or what steps they took. But I wouldn't say it's impossible. It just kind of depends on the setup and, systems, kind of how they're going to work together in order to have all that communicate.
Okay. And then from a data privacy, data retention perspective, because you're a platform that multiple companies could use, how do you get candidate or solicit candidate agreement for their data to be held in Brazen?
Yeah, that's part like when they sign up, similar to a lot. Anytime you sign up for something kind of similar to that, where there is like that user agreement within it, that's just part of the kind of the terms and conditions of coming on the Brazen platform. So that's all kind of housed there, in that initial sign up screen we saw. There's a link if they want to read all the details, but it's kind of acknowledging that as they come in.
And then do they have the ability to purge for their data from being shared with specific companies, or is it purge completely and all companies that have access to the Brazen platform lose access to that person's data?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would assume they could. When they're signing up, again, if it's an individual employer affair, right, they're just signing up, like this example I showed you was just Amtrak. So they're just signing up for that. They're giving the Amtrak data, just like they're applying directly to you. But we do, right, all the different, I can't think of it, right, where the rights of, people come to a website, right, we're compliant with all those. So the candidate information, right, they can come in, request to have it removed, and then it would be pulled away on the Brazen side if they do request that. But if you upload that further, right, that's a little bit different. But
okay, thanks.
You're almost getting out of my
your comfort zone.
Security questions.
Gotcha. Just to everybody know that in the chat is Derek's email address, derek@brazen.com. But if you miss that, you can call me or let me know, and you know me well enough, I'll send it over. Two very quick questions, unless there's something from the rest of the audience. So I'm curious a little bit. What I have heard is that virtual events just don't match up to live, because I can see the crowd, I can reach out, I can walk the aisles, I can go grab somebody that looks like they're interested and drag them to the booth, whatever. In all honesty, what you presented, Derek, the ability to find people and bring them to the table, so to speak, it's not that difficult. So I think that argument, I think, is losing a little bit of luster. But I am curious about the perspective, a little bit of what Tracy was asking on the assessment situation. There are a couple of interesting assessments that could maybe sit on top of my quote unquote resume or in my profile that says, hey, I'm a 7 out of 10 on a scale of whatever it is. I'm kind of thinking there have been a couple of systems we've seen where assessments are rating people on a set of perspective of corporate culture. In fact, they've even gone so far as to say corporate culture is X, you're Y. Let's see if that's a match or not. So there's a lot of sophistication occurring around you, and I'm curious as you start keeping an eye on that stuff. Is that the kind of stuff that might be brought to the table through these profiles and chat and so on, just kind of to help the recruiter just kind of zero in a little better? I think that's where Tracy was going for it.
Yeah, it depends. Like right now, like, yeah, the outside piece, but yeah, like those questions in the profile, if you had things, where you could ask them, right, like, and kind of put you could maybe do like your own little assessment in there if you know some of your basic ones, but it's definitely not like a very outside of those kind of just simple questions. It might not show that, but yeah, if you want to, if if they did take something, or if they know they've taken something before that they can add it on, you could add some of that there. Yep.
Okay. And then there's a question sitting out there from Scott about the pricing. I was going to ask that. Can you tell us a little bit? Is it usage or population that you price yourself along the lines of?
We're all based on user seats, so
Okay.
you know, it really ranges. You know, depending on the type of company, what you're trying to do. 10,000 on up really a year. So it's a pretty large range. But again, it's based on that user seat factor, how many people on your side you have coming into the platform, really kind of makes that, you know, vary quite a bit. Then obviously like the quick chat, advertising, all that goes into it. So it's, you know, it can range a lot. So it's hard to kind of say like it's X amount. It's not $10, Scott. It's not the 10 million. You know,
I wasn't sure if you were watching that one, Derek, but
yeah,
yes.
yeah, I got the chat up.
Good
So
range.
I tried to get orders of magnitude.
yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
I thought you had a budget of 10 million.
yeah.
Time.
Yeah, so it's a range, right? It's at 10,000 on up, but it, you know,
Yeah.
it's really custom. So there's not really a one size fits all, but you know, there's a lot we can do with based on the user seats and what you're trying to do.
So when you say user seat, are you talking about the recruiter, the on the admin side, if you will, the people that are the power users, or are you talking about the number of candidates that come in? So if
yeah,
I have two recruiters
side.
for a job fair and they bring in 100 candidates, am I charged for 2 people or 100 people or 102 people?
Yeah, candidates aren't included in that. It's purely your side of it. So right, you have kind of like your full-time users, and then like people that come in, you know, we have like tickets then for them to come in. So it's a combination of a couple different types of seats, but it's only from the employer or your side of it that the cost is associated. So job seekers coming in don't add up to any cost on that.
Thanks.
Yep.
And the last thing that what I'm looking for, just very quickly to ask of you, Derek, and again, thank you very, very much. We're going over, so we may be losing some folks as they bow out. But are you thinking about maybe, because the campus events seem to be a relatively large usage perspective, kind of surrounding it? I'm a college student, never really been in an interview. Do you have some material I could look at, a video, you know, helpful hints on interviewing skills and things? I'm just kind of thinking to myself, I won't call it a marketplace because that you don't want to invite a whole bunch of people in there, but you know, there's some good material out there to help people really shine in an interview situation and so on. So I'm just curious if you're kind of surrounding yourself. I suspect that Brazen is being looked at not just for the clients it has, but the number of visitors that people, the flow, if you will, through the front door of Brazen.
Yeah, and so much is that like we do like with blogs, like we have, you know, for employers and, you know, job seekers coming in, that's part of it. But in terms of like the actual events when they come in, if it's campus focused, that is up to the employers kind of if they want to add more of that. Like, do they want to have that educational session or that content within the event? That's kind of on their side. Michelle, I just saw your question. Like, Brazen, that data can be shared with the ATS or, you know, HCM. It just depends if it can be set up. Sometimes some ATS systems are very open to partnering, others just refuse to do it. So it will depend kind of which one it is. So it's kind of a mix on that.
Okay, well, I don't see any other further questions other than people saying thank you. So I will say the same. Derek, thank you very, very much. Nice presentation, nice product. I think all the way around we're excited. Certainly, we will extend an invitation to you down the road and check in with you and see what else is new, and bring you back to the table here. But thank you again very, very much. Appreciate it. And everyone, thank you very much. We have others lining up in our queue finally, which there was a summer lull. I won't even ask why, but there was. But so we definitely are looking forward to having you all back. And thank you all. Take care. Stay well.